When I say the word happiness, what do you think of? Do you think of passion projects, entertainment, a significant other perhaps? I am sure that a lot of you, although you might be ashamed to admit it, were thinking of money. Oh yeah, cold hard cash. And I mean, you're not wrong. Money is necessary to live, it's necessary to have a stable economy. I should know about that. I live with my parents and I've never had to pay a tax in my whole life. But it's fine, cause I'm 16. Money can be good, as long as you're not dependent on a constant stream of an overwhelming amount of it to maintain your happiness. Then again, I'm sure you're not exactly Scrooge McDuck, the richest duck on the planet. But what if you were? How rich would you have to be to swim in a pool of your own money? Roll the intro. Throughout the ages, or well, not really, it's just an idiom, there have been multiple attempts at trying to figure out just how rich this mother ducker is. MacLeod on the Film Theorist channel did a pretty good calculation a few years ago, and there have been multiple attempts from magazines and news articles trying to do the same thing, although those rarely show their calculations, and even if they show them, they aren't particularly good calculations. Looking at you, the Bill Fond. However, none of them are, in the eyes of a long-time Donald Duck reader, me, accurate, or at least accurate enough. But why have there been so many attempts? Isn't it as easy as to just find a Donald Duck magazine, find the exact value and call it a day? No. Because when it comes to Donald Duck, nothing is canon. Nothing is sacred. Have you ever wondered how Donald Duck can, in one story, completely and utterly disintegrate Duckburg by either tearing down the electricity network or ruining a dam, but then in the next one, everything is back to normal? But then in the story after that again, he ruins the city once again. How is it possible for one man, or a duck, I suppose, to ruin the city more than twice in a shorter amount of time than it takes for his nephews to graduate 3rd grade? It is because the writers of Donald Duck don't care about what the other writers write. They also don't care about continuity, but that's fine in this case, believe it or not, because if else we wouldn't have the same frequency of creative stories. It's fun to see Donald ruin the city more than once, or at least so thought my 10-year-old self, but if everything were to adhere to a singular story, we wouldn't have that same frequency of creative stories. Back to my original point, the fact that there isn't such a thing as a canon Donald Duck story makes it difficult for us to get correct numbers. One writer might decide that Scrooge McDuck has $17 impacillion, while another might decide that he has $4 fantasillion. Both would be right and both would be wrong. And this is why it is so damn hard to get a proper measurement on the money bin. It's not that Scrooge McDuck loses or gains more money from comic strip to comic strip, it's just that each writer chooses a value and goes for it regardless of what the other ones write. So that's it, yeah? Case closed. I mean, we don't have any numbers to work with, so we can't get any further. Are we done? Well, no, not quite. We could do like MacLeod did on the Film Theorist and only calculate the volume of a single Donald Duck universe money bin, in MacLeod's case the DuckTales. Even though there is no such thing as a canon Donald Duck story, there are some consistent plot points and universal, or I suppose I should say multiversal truths to Donald Duck. For example,
Donald Duck always wears a sailor suit, although whether it is black or blue varies. Huey, Dewey and Louie always have red, blue and green caps, although the green one is sometimes yellow. Donald's middle name is Fantalori, believe it or not, and his birthday is on the 9th of June. Scrooge McDuck almost always stores his money in the money bin, a big concrete cube in the middle of the city on top of Killmotor Hill, although its appearance has changed from writer to writer, and so on and so forth.
One said consistent plot point is about how Scrooge earned his money, and nowhere is this better documented than in the Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, you know I was going to bring it up, by Don Rosa, 1992. I know I've said that there isn't such a thing as a canon Donald Duck story, but this is the closest we can get, because multiple writers have referred to these stories as true, or at least semi-true in their own.
Scrooge grew up on the streets of Glasgow as a poor shoeshine. After getting scammed, he promised that he would become rich, but in an honourable way. He graduated from shoeshining and travelled to the land of opportunities, but he ended up in America instead. Now, did he settle there and become a rich oil tycoon? No. In fact, after going to America, he travelled all around the world and became a treasure hunter, gathering money from all around the globe and saving it up in his trademark money bin. And when I say all around the globe, I mean all around the globe.
Scrooge McDuck has been to every single country in the world and gathered money from every single one of them more than twice. Because here's the deal. Contrary to popular belief, Scrooge McDuck's money bin isn't filled with gold, it's filled with money. Just because it shines like gold, just because it has the colour of gold, just because it looks like gold, does not mean that it is gold. Actually, in many cases, illustrators have chosen to make Scrooge's money silver-coloured, not gold.
Don't be an idiot. This isn't all my money. I have assets in banks and properties all around the world. But this is the money I earned myself. Alone. While I travelled the globe for 50 years, single-handedly discovering mines and starting businesses. Each coin in this bin has a meaning to me. Each is a souvenir, a trophy of my grit, a monument to my glory. This is the part of my money that I never spend.
Oh, well, in that case, it's easy to find out how much the money is worth. You arrogantly say. We just find the volume of the money bin, find out how many coins fit within that volume, and multiply that again by the average worth of an American coin. Easy. No, it's still not that easy. Remember how I said earlier that Scrooge gathered money from all around the world? Well, that money came from him in the form of the currencies of those countries, meaning that Scrooge has loads of foreign coins in his bin. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where chaos theory enters the ring. Chaos theory is a mathematical term used to describe a system where there are so many factors counting in that it is impossible to predict the outcome. Okay, think about it like this. Imagine we had a machine that could, in theory, place a pencil 100% horizontally on a flat surface. Now, in theory, this pencil is going to stand straight up, right? But we all know it's going to fall over, because of chaos theory. Many small, tiny variations and inconsistencies that are impossible for us to discover. For example, maybe the surface isn't 100% flat, maybe the lead on the pencil isn't 100% flat, maybe the breath from my mouth is disturbing the pencil. Many tiny factors and variations like that could easily destroy the whole experiment, and that is chaos theory. Now, how could something as simple as the money bin possibly be covered by chaos theory? Well, for starters, we don't know enough about the money that was used between 1880 and 1930, which was the time period in which Scrooge gathered his money. We don't know how much it was worth, we don't know how much volume it took, we simply don't know enough about the money that is in Scrooge's money bin. This means that even if we found a volume of the money bin, which I'll just say good luck with that, we still have to figure out the density of coins within the bin, and we might be able to fit more American dimes within the liter of volume than, for example, Indian rupees, or Japanese yen, or Hungarian forint. I hope I pronounced those correctly. But even then, even if you are a historical coin expert and know everything about every currencies ever used, first of all, That's a really weird hobby to have, and that comes from a boy analysing comic books in his bedroom on the internet. And second, we still don't know how much money Scrooge gathered from every country he went to. Maybe he got really lucky in Egypt selling lawnmowers, but not as lucky in I don't know, Florida. His surfboard shop went bankrupt or whatever. We don't know. And that is why it is impossible to calculate the value of Scrooge McDuck's money bin. There are too many variables, too many insecurities and inconsistencies, we don't have enough information. Booyah. Impossible. That was where I was planning to end the video. We don't have enough information, thus we can't know. Video over. However, and that's a big however, big, scary, uncomfortable however. There is a way. And I know this way contradicts everything I've said in this video so far. But hear me out. We can solve this using the laws of chemistry, yeah. Chemistry, believe it or not. Let us assume that Scrooge gathered an equal amount of money from each country he went to. And that's a big assumption, but hear me out. And then we take $1 worth of those currencies and put them all in a figurative stack.
For example, $1 American today equals about 70 Indian rupees, 111 Japanese yen, and 286 Hungarian forints. What we do is that we take those 70 Indian rupees, 111 Japanese yen, and 286 Hungarian forints, and a lot of other currencies that would all equal $1, and put them all in a stack. Then calculate the volume of the stack. We now know that however many currencies we had in that stack equals the stack's worth in dollars. We then take the volume of the money bin, divide that by the volume of the stack, and we have now how many stacks of money fit within the money bin. We then take that number, multiply it by the value of our stack, and that would be the volume of the money bin.
But there are a few problems to this method. A few. Loads of problems, actually, but two main ones. For starters, I'm not a historical coin expert. I don't know enough about the currencies used in the early 20th century, and I'm not planning on spending my whole Easter vacation researching coins. Just not happening. Second problem, we don't have a volume of the money bin, but this is a bit of a flexible one. We could assume that the whole thing is a cube, we could look at what other writers have given us, we could do pixel measurement. There are many ways to get around this problem. Now, I'm going to ask you for something weird. And this might seem like a bit of a stretch and a very, very odd thing to ask, but if you are a historical coin expert YouTuber, no, scratch that, a historical coin expert period, contact me. Let's talk about this, let's figure this out. My email is thebotheorist@gmail.com, and you can DM me on Twitter or Instagram, @thebotheorist on both of them. Let's figure this out together, because I am a bit too lazy to do the research myself. I shouldn't have said that, should I? Now, I know that this method that I have proposed isn't optimal. Far from it, it certainly has its flaws. But I feel like it's the closest we can get to the real deal, especially considering that the real deal is impossible to find out. And that's not just because it is incalculable.
The value of Scrooge's money doesn't come from its objective economic function, but rather from the subjective value Scrooge gives to his money. Sure, from an outsider's perspective, it might just look like a big, grey, concrete cube full of useless metal, but to Scrooge, that bin is filled with memories from a wild, exciting life full of adventure and danger.
At the end of the day, big houses and cars and expensive jewelry shouldn't be your life goals, but to rather pursue your passions and follow your dreams. Because when you grow old, like Scrooge McDuck, memories are worth more than gold. Until next time.
And the element of the month is vanadium. Vanadium is a metal that is about as rare as copper, but not as easy to find in nature. It is most often used to strengthen steel, that is often being used in different tools, such as gears, bicycle frames, and wrenches. Don't forget to vote for your favorite element in the monthly element contest down in the comment section. Who knows, maybe your favorite element will be the next element of the month.
You know, it's interesting, because in the life and times of Scrooge McDuck, this one to be precise, when Scrooge finally becomes the richest duck in the world, he passes someone called the Maharaja of Hindustan. Now, this obviously isn't a real person, but it could very well be based off of the real life person, Mir Usman Ali Khan, who was a ruler over a specific part of India and the richest man to live on Earth at his time. While Mr. Khan was at power in the early 1940s, it is estimated that his fortune was worth about $2 billion, or $35 billion today. Now, if it is true that Scrooge was just a little bit richer than this person, which it isn't true, but let's assume so, just for the sake of it, Scrooge having just $2 billion, it's kind of disappointing, you know? I mean, you would assume that Scrooge is a trillionaire at least, but then $2 billion? I'm not really satisfied with that. Oh well.